Yeah, we'll see. Maybe they've changed how they play some of these maps. It'd be a strange time to do it, but they're going to be starting on the CT side with ENCE on the T side. And a little bit of a trick setup here. The dualies in front, but it won't really matter. Subhair's going to be able to take down Shiro. The flash is so good, but he hit none of the shots. He could have probably, if he had the dualies then, it would have been a slaughter inside of the tunnel, but instead, it's a 3 versus 5. The bomb is going to get planted, shooting for the teammates even to take down Buster. It's all right now on Hobbit and Axel. The retake that looks impossible at the moment.
This is tough, really is. Half armor for both Hobbit and Axel. No U-tool to work with, and no kits either. ENCE, despite taking a lot of damage, all they have to do is play numbers. Dia will find Hobbit, and that should be all Shiro. Axel's given away his position. They know exactly where he's coming from. And this one's done. It might keep hold of the dualies, but all things considered, there really isn't anything to salvage from this round for Cloud9. ENCE like a very comfortable pistol, and it all comes off the back of a couple of missed shots on Nafany.
Yeah, the trick otherwise, I mean, it kind of didn't work out. Oh, yeah, the blast radius there is pretty wild. I was going to say, initially, the way you want to probably play that 1-2 punch is not really for the dualies to be peeking first, but I think for the guy at the back of the site to be, or the back of the tunnel, to be at least just jiggling a little bit just to see what's up. But even then, the flashbang was just so good, you would have expected some kind of kill to come in there, but it didn't. So, yeah, good entry for ENCE. They get to win the pistol round, and that probably feels pretty good, especially playing the T side of Ancient.
Yeah, exactly that. T side of Ancient as well. This map, since the changes that came through, has been definitely leaning a little bit more puggy, and I like this. It makes this map very fun in towards the middling section. Speaking of, in towards mid, bit of U-tool coming through, will tag down Snappy, but just a Mach 10 for him to work with. It's not exactly the worst position or worst person to take a chunk of that nade damage. For Cloud9, a full investment, but just pistols.
I feel like maybe especially against a team like Cloud9, winning T rounds in general is going to be important, right? Because they have really strong CT sides in general. Some of their T sides, I think, could be a little bit questionable at times, which is kind of weird. But they have some really reliable players. I mean, I think Hobbit throughout the RMR so far has been playing pretty damn well. It's been really, really impressive. Axel, I never doubt at all. So yeah, they have some core players there that could really do a lot of work if they're left anchoring a site somewhere. Oh, a pretty decent nade. Softening everybody up, and they're sending Snappy in with a Mach 10 to feel things out. Always a good choice if you don't want to be giving away too much money. Even if they steal the Mach 10, nobody cares. It's all good.
They're waiting for him, though. They are waiting for him. Buster's waiting on site as well. Dia will fall, so will Madden. Axel spams in the smoke. Mach 10 up close and personal, can't quite convert. This round falling apart to pistols.
Yeah, definitely is. I think you could hear Axel just double tap the smoke. It was like 2 quick bullets coming out from the deagle, and one of them was a headshot. And ENCE is now real far away with no bomb to try and just save the AK. That's a pretty deflating round if you're on the ENCE side of things. Didn't even feel like you really got to do anything there. Just walked into the headshot from Buster, and then quick follow-up there through the smoke on Axel. I'd love to see the replay from Axel's point of view. I don't think there's any... He couldn't have seen anything.
No, I don't think so. He was full smoked. How have Cloud9 walked away? The ENCE, they're going to be kicking themselves. They've lost what, on paper, should have been a pretty comfortable round. Even if ENCE went and stepped up the tempo there, flew over towards that B site, even in towards Jaguar, and kind of taking fights on towards Nafany and Axel were close and personal, they still would have been fine. Oh, he does. He just double taps for the smoke. Fortune favoring him, but I think for Cloud9 as well, that's a really, really big round to take. A massive swing. Such a big investment coming through from the likes of the T side. And, you know, for ENCE, they've dropped over 2 Galils, an AK. It's a brutal one for them. And, of course, they'll be transferred in towards the next. AK, 2 Galils, and MP9 and a Mach 10 brought over for Cloud9.
Wow, yeah. Well, the AK on ENCE is definitely something to be concerned about. The spray for the smoke. He's going to catch Shiro as well. That's outrageous. They're bringing it back 3 versus 5 in this one, just from getting the mid fight going their way. ENCE definitely the guy to watch. No. He's going to get a 3rd kill here, taking down Axel. And Buster and Nafady are left on the wrong side of the map. The bomb is going to be planted, so I guess ENCE just decide, you know what, the best way to get over a loss like that is just to come swinging into the next round.
So far as well, coming in towards this game, ENCE is the 3rd highest rated player in the entire EU RMRB. I mean, he has been absolutely lights out. And he's only 0.01 behind second. That of Boros. 2 Endpoint alumni showing on the big stage what they can do. And ENCE claw back around, which in a similar fashion, they probably shouldn't have won. ENCE, 3 kills to his name. He's 5-0 right now. And Dia's looking to make it even more expensive on the way out. Nafri runs out of bullets, gets dropped. That could be an upgrade too. And I think Boster, even him saving here, is going to be asking a lot. It's Nerds and a 4K. What a round from him. The only rifle to work with and a few pistols. And ENCE have clawed back yet another round. Cloud9, in a similar vein to ENCE, they'll be kicking themselves.
Yeah, that's how you do it, though. That's how you get the team fired up early on. They're going to be feeling real good about this one. What a mental round out of him.
So quick, so crisp. No one dying as well. It's a flawless round, in fact, for ENCE. And a big buy coming through too. Snappy in towards the MP9. And over towards Cloud9, just a UMP.
Yeah, I'm wondering about this. This is a weird buy-up. I understand the need to put the pressure on, but this just feels very lackluster. Nerds is going to continue. He can't be stopped in the middle. Axal and Shiro both get blown up. They do a little bit of damage in return, but it's not nearly enough. What a horrifying way to get started on the CT side. If you keep losing the mid-fight, you're not going to have much of a defense. That's really tough. Nafferty goes down. Stiha's ready, just holding the smoke. And it's Buster and Hobbit that are left here. 2 versus 4. And they might as well group up and try and do something. I suppose Hobbit's going to maybe look for a rifle in the middle, but Nerds seem to be well aware of that.
Utah line it up. He's going to fall away, in fact, off the back of it. Smoke down. Hobbit, he's going to respect it. Sitting towards Red Room, see what we can do. I think this round's more or less locked and loaded. The only thing that can make a difference here is Buster close and personal with the MP9. They're going to rotate away. They're going to look over towards the A side. Nerds going to go over towards main. 3 players in towards Donut. Hobbit can hear all of this information. He's going to pull the trigger to come behind as well, but some pious 180 off the back of the sound cue. And in doing so, Buster all alone. MP9, 1 versus 4, and the round's done. Nerds playing lights out Counter-Strike right now. 8-0 he started, and this is a map as well where, you know, the bulk of Nerds' playing career so far of what we've seen him at an elite level being of Endpoint, and this is probably Endpoint's go-to map, their favorite, this and Inferno, and you can kind of see already how he is essentially kind of bringing over his elite level style from Endpoint, where essentially it was a case of Nerds go kill, and if he doesn't, then the round's in jeopardy. To this end side, Nerds is really clawing them out of some rough situations. Look across the board as well. The second place behind him is just D here with 3 kills.
Yeah, the rest haven't had to do anything. I don't even think it's a reflection of the rest of ENCE. It's just Nerds has taken over the first couple of rounds for himself. Kind of greedy in a way, but, you know, in the best possible sense.
Exactly.
This is fantastic. What a way to get started. 3-1 in favor of ENCE. And just to remind everyone of what we're playing for here, it's qualification. This is a 2-2 group game. So right now, if you lose, you go to the last chance qualifier, which is absolute hell on earth. Nobody wants to be down there. And if you win instead, you qualify for the major. And imagine for ENCE, what a story to qualify for the major over Cloud9.
That would be in itself, right? We already know coming into this game, heavy underdogs, right? I think for Cloud9, they've had their hiccups, they've had a couple of shakes here and there, but for the most part, when you just look at on name value alone, Shiro, Axal, Hobbit, what these guys can do in a server, that should claw them to success. And I think for Cloud9, you know, a lot of people would have definitely hedged their bets over there, but ENCE are playing some, well, pretty lights out Counter-Strike right now. Very good to see. And as we mentioned, they need to start to make a statement on T side. I gotta look back at one thing. That Cloud9 buy-in towards the previous round, a UMP, an MP9, a couple of pistols, 1 M4. It's very janky. UFPs will bite the bullet and they'll fight 2.
All right, good. Stuff a deal. He's brought it back. That's way too much of an output for just a little bit of a skirmish down there at the bottom of the B ramp. Shiro trying to do some more. He's slowly tickling them down. I can't believe they didn't get any more kills behind that. It looked like he had the lineup. He was almost tagging them 2 for 1 with some of those shots, but just couldn't find enough damage. Okay, a little bit scary, but a great job. Dia has, in my mind, has become such a reliable player.
I agree.
At the tier 1 level. I think it's really exciting because, again, for me, he was just always this kind of insignificant name in the tier 2 Polish scene that was kind of like, it was not obvious to me at all. I'll say this honestly, for like, you know, 4 or 5 years ago, that Diha was going to be doing much of anything, but definitely wrong about that. So happy to be wrong. It's good sometimes to sort of see somebody, I think, outplay most people's expectations. I think it's a great story.
It's also good to see as well, for me, one of the real shining lights of Dia. Obviously, gameplay brilliant, but he's a really lovely personality, very, very active on Twitter. He actually has a personality too. He's not really kind of, you know, we see some players as pretty robotic in their interactions, but very good meme game. Seems like it seems to be a case with the Polish team. Hades also very good meme game.
That is true.
Oh no, backside. Hasn't shown his face just yet. He will pull the plug for 2. UFP pulled out. Nerds dropped. Down to 11 points of HP, but he finds the kill.
Oh, the smoke. He's going to catch Hobbit. Oh, we're going to need a replay of that Shiro spray. There's some really cool stuff that happened there from a movement point of view. 2 versus 2 now. We got about 50 seconds on the clock. The bomb is out in the open. And Cloud9 don't need to be too active. They can just wait it out, but they are really active. Buster goes for the look, and that gets him killed. And now, a little bit of trouble potentially for Nafany. 1 versus 2 here. He does have a smoke, but that won't really help him. The real thing that he needed right now is probably an HE to get rid of NERTZ without having to fight him straight up. He runs for the Molotov. That's being heard. He still lands the headshot, picks up another M4, and right there is Madden. He's going to win the fight, just barely. Almost dead. But that is a huge 1 versus 1. What a great win for Madden at the end there. That could have gone horribly wrong. And now Cloud9 are really going to be... They're going to be feeling the pain.
Yeah, a timeout called, and I think it's actually a very good call for a timeout. This game so far has been chaos. No side is really kind of, biting their tongue, pumping the brakes. It's been lights out in terms of the aggressiveness, and at times, that can be, you get sucked into it. And I think for Cloud9, they just need a breather.
Absolutely. If we have time for it, I'd love to see a replay of Shiro spray down on those first two players, because he does something that's so cool, which is he actually positions his player model so that the box is stopping the third player that's fighting him from even engaging with him. It's really, really sick to see, because sometimes, obviously, we talk about the player's mechanics, and that's kind of what makes the whole, like, oh, sick one-taps and all the rest of it. It is really cool, but repositioning yourself in the middle of a fight is obviously very tricky to do, and it just looks so cool. Yeah, a little bit of a discussion happening on the Cloud9 side, and I can understand why. They're down 5-1 against an ENCE team that just looks red hot. NERTZ is dropping a 12-to-1 ratio right now. It's pretty stupid. Axal's going to be going down. Madden in charge of the first one there, and Hobbit would love a 1D, but he's not going to get one yet.
NERTZ is lurking, and he will find Nafany. Nafany was trying to wrap him behind, and NERTZ just holding down the rotations. In a matter of moments, it's all down to 3, and this one in jeopardy.
Edge of the smoke. Okay, Shiro able to see something.
Oh,
NERTZ is not done. He wants to keep going. Never done, it seems like. This is going to be a 4 versus 2 scenario, so not much really that Cloud9 could do except for maybe look for an exit here or there. Now that they got the AK, definitely want to try and save that. Shiro up close. Got to be a little bit careful here. And DI is just going to clean peek him. Absolutely everything is working out for ENCE. I was not expecting this at all.
This has so far been such a dominant display coming through from ENCE. A lot of question marks have to go over towards Cloud9. Their read on what the T-side is trying to bring is, for the most part, pretty poor. Right now, there is really kind of cause for concern over towards the Cloud9 side. That's 5 rounds in a row coming through from ENCE, and heading in towards round 8 so far. NERTZ will continue to kind of highlight him just because of how well he's been playing. 14-1 with 182 ADR. I mean, that in itself is just monstrous.
It's so sick. You have to think that at some point that's gonna be brought back into the normal range. It should be. It's kind of rare that you have this much of a start and can just keep it going for a whole map.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll see if he can. On the Cloud9 side, though, they look just very deflated at the start of this. You could see the number of kills. Nobody over 4 right now. And they have players that should be able to step it up and bring down, or at least trade out somebody like NERTZ. I think that's the other thing, right? In the middle, they've had a couple of sort of 1 versus 2, 2 versus 2 scenarios where they're isolated in there, and they need to be able to trade some of those kills. Shiro on the AWP. Again, defensive AWPing, something he does very, very well. Some players going to be chiming in with a kill on Hobbit in the meantime, and now, again, they have the bomb site. Very A-heavy this. That's so rare. Normally, people go B all the time on this map. Kind of like the preferred way to do this, but ENCE feel like they're getting better fights over on this side. They're not wrong either.
Nade coming through. Snappy will fall away. Diha, I mean, we've got to sing his praises so far.
They're already out.
Yeah, lights out, Counter-Strike, they're calling it. They want nothing to do with this. I can sort of understand it. The only problem is that Madden is holding to catch players in rotation. And if Nafany turns his back, he could be caught. It doesn't matter if he's facing. Madden will find the kill or post it. Needs to be careful, Madden. But he might continue to push the agenda. They've got plenty of cash to work with. Why not send a few bodies to see if they can make it more expensive? Cloud9, saving here, even that's going to be a struggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's so tempting, isn't it, when you know you have the cash for it anyway. They are going to slow down in CT spawn, and that's fair enough too, but yeah, they get 3 rifles away, they win the round, they continue the streak. That A bomb site Here's the problem, though. This is actually kind of horrifying for Cloud9. I don't think you can, in the current meta game, you can't really stack 3 people on A. Like, it doesn't really make any sense. Maybe if you did, you'd have to go 2 Donut and sort of 1 holding far back on A. But then the B bomb side, if ENCE switch it up and just hit the B bomb side hard, you probably lose that instantly.
And this is where the mind games really start to play in. I think right now, Snappy's not really calling anything that is too kind of, I mean, genius in a way. He's just, his fraggers are doing all the work for him, so he doesn't need to call anything miraculous. The big question for me is that once, at some point in this series, obviously ENCE will start to get tested. We know in terms of what Cloud9 can do, especially on their T-side strats at times themselves, how are they going to bounce back? But right now, they've just got to keep this train going, keep the momentum in their sails. That's 6 rounds in a row, which that is the gap they've got as a 7-1 scoreline. And ENCE are just running away with his T-side. I know this map has made changes, so it's not as CT-sided anymore and definitely has its kind of T-side preferences, but not this T-sided. This is a masterclass from ENCE right now.
Yeah, it really is. And I still feel like we can see some real lockdown CT sides depending on who's playing the map. I agree it's much more even now, but man, this is something else. There's an M4 in play on Buster and the AWP on Shiro, so if they find the right openings, yeah, it's still possible for them to win the round, even if the rest is looking a bit scrappy.
Yeah.
3 people on the B bomb side. So I guess Cloud9, again, they're probably worried about that eventual switch up to the B attack, which could definitely become